It's your girl Sadi Rose coming to you with today's word. You know, today's word is so real. Everyone wants to judge everyone else, but don't nobody want to judge themselves. And this is on the theme of really today's kind of trend, which is it's the little things that we should care about. It's the little things that matter. Now, some would say, well, being self-aware of yourself, of the things about yourself that you don't like, or the people, places, things around you that are not gravitating in alignment for your highest good and for greater good. A lot of times, y'all, like in the past, we have considered this not a priority. We're so focused on what this world says that we should be focused on: getting that house, getting the income, having the career, having the perfect wife, having a perfect husband, having the perfect children. We can all aspire for those things, but if we do not have a solid foundation in ourselves, and if we are not truthful about who we are being to ourselves, and if we are not happy within ourselves, how in the heck can we positively impact the exterior world that surrounds us? We have to prioritize the things that seem small and really magnify, like with a laser in on them. And it's a daily task. It's a daily chore, y'all. When you really decide, hey, I'm going to stop, like yesterday, y'all, with the hurricane. I use it for example. I felt like I caught myself. This is the first time I've caught myself. Like, I refuse to watch the news. Like, I find my news through watching various outlets, but like I won't necessarily just watch the news because it's depressing. But I found myself with this hurricane, Milton, that I was like with the rest of the world. It was like a spectator. I felt terrible because, these people it seemed this hurricane was barreling toward them. People were too poor to get out, and other people chose to stay for whatever reason. But it was like watching a disaster happening and feeling completely, helpless to do it. And, all kinds of thoughts were coming in my head about why people were leaving, and just, completely preoccupied with like the situation and the tragedy of it. And like, watching their drama unfold, being a spectator. And then I was like, wait a minute. I'm not feeding into this anymore. I'm not watching any more TikToks about this. I'm going to pray and I'm going to meditate, and I'm going to see this hurricane. I'm going to see it dissolve. I'm going to see it get weakened. And so I chose from being a spectator to being an active contributor to the collective. And it was like the algorithm changed immediately on TikTok. All of a sudden on Instagram, I saw all these influencers, all these spiritual influencers, all these spiritual leaders saying the same thing. And it was as a collective. It was like once I became aware that I was a spectator, I chose that no longer was I going to be a spectator. I was going to be a creator. And so that's the same thing with your life. Don't be a spectator. Don't be a spectator of other people's lives, weighing in, watching their life, the calamity of their life unfold in front of you. If you see someone who's struggling, choose to have empathy, choose to be compassionate, but do it with boundaries. There's a trend right now, empathy without boundaries. But I have to really warn people about that, especially if you're any kind of psychic or medium or empath. You have to have boundaries, y'all. But anyway, do it. Do something to help. Pray, meditate, visualize, right? The best possible scenario, and then also give real physical support if you can, like help financially, or if they need support emotionally or psychologically. Like, do whatever you can, but keep your boundaries. But do anything besides spectate. And like you're watching, right? And so we do the same thing with our lives too, y'all. I've noticed sometimes we become spectators to our own lives, where we like, where we kind of see ourselves, and we get caught up in the drama. We can get caught up in the drama of our lives, and like, oh no, he did this to me, and she did that to me, and this is happening and that is happening. And it's easy to get into that victim mentality. It's easy to get into that thought process of, getting pulled into this story. But we have to realize that we're creating this story. So when I say care about the little things, in order to get yourself out of the spectator loop where you are watching your life instead of intentionally creating your life, you have to choose to work every day on yourself. And so it's not really about judging yourself. It's about being self-aware of your patterns, being self-aware of your habits, checking yourself, especially if you're an adult. Y'all, my biggest thing lately that I've been working on, that I'm dissecting myself, not judging myself, but dissecting myself and observing different things is maturity. I'm in my 40s, and I've been lately catching myself, sometimes in the past, different situations that happen, and I'll just say little things, kind of smart alecky or whatever in different situations. And sometimes it's sharing too much information with your kids, kind of pulling them into your problems rather than having them focus on their problems, right? Because they got their own set of problems, especially in today's world. But pulling my kids into my drama, I have been actively working. They need to be kids. They need to focus on their life. They don't need to take on the weight of my problems. They have enough problems on their own. So I have to focus on supporting them, helping them to develop, helping them to become self-aware, and helping them to process all the things externally that are happening to them, but also helping them build the foundation so that they can be self-aware and also work daily to improve things about themselves that they don't like, including the people, places, and things in their life that are not helping them to be the best versions of themselves or bringing the full satisfaction that they deserve in terms of having a warm, caring, supportive environment for themselves. Y'all, I'm sorry. That's a whole mouthful of what I just said, but it's true, y'all. A lot of times when I hear what's going on in the world, especially with the politics, right? We're a month away from the election. Everybody wants to judge everyone. Everyone wants to talk about what other people are doing. But y'all, we are in a time where we really do have to stop being so worried and consumed about what everyone else is doing. And we have to focus on these small, tiny tasks that we do every day. When you wake up, how do you wake up? Do you immediately get on your phone and scroll looking at social media? Do you immediately open up your bank account and start being anxious, worried about how you're going to pay your bills? Start dissecting that kind of stuff. Are you giving yourself any time to move, to work out? Y'all, I've been so stressed out. I'm trying to do all this new stuff, and I haven't been giving myself that time. So a goal for me, just sharing with you how when I'm talking about tiny things, about not judging yourself, but being self-aware, being trying to improve certain things about yourself that you want to be better. I know I need to incorporate movement. So now I'm looking at my schedule. Maybe I have to wake up more. But I know, because I have this wonderful thing called an Oura. You see that? It's taken all my vitals. It's telling me about how I'm sleeping. Now, since I've had it on for 3 months, it tells me the time, ideal time for my type. It knows all my vitals of when I should go to sleep and when I should wake up. And it turns out I'm an evening person. That's not a surprise to me. So according to Oura, I really should go to bed around 11 and I should wake up at 7. So trying to retailor my schedule around that is going to be a task, given that I work and I have children, but I digress. So I'm starting to think about, what does my morning look like? How do I get movement in? Even if it's 15 minutes, even if it's a sprint, 3 times a week, how do I get my movement in? How do I incorporate when I'm fasting? Because I fast 3 times a week for 16 hours. And how do so I start off, I meditate in the morning, just even if it's 3 minutes, y'all. And throughout the day, because I have high stress levels through most of my day, I try to meditate for at least 3 to 5 minutes, or have breathing exercises, because when you have high levels of stress, you have to make sure that you're aware of your resiliency to recover from those high levels of stress by taking these times to meditate, by taking these times to get yourself together. So these are examples that I'm talking about of the small things that you can do to drastically improve your well-being, including your mental, right? Because if you're stressed out and you're not allowing yourself to recover, your body's not going to feel right. You're going to be anxious. You're going to be irritable. You're going to be exhausted. And so just again, this is just an example of what I mean, where you can do these small things to really help yourself be a better person.